Hey guys, and welcome to week 48. Sorry for that fake week 46 I did last week. Here on the Real DVD Watchers on Wednesdays as always, it's me, Tom. The movie that I've chosen to review today is something that I've only ever seen twice, and the first time I saw it, I really enjoyed it. But this time I decided I was going to go look at it from a more analytical point of view and see if it still held up. The movie in question is Black Snake Moan, written and directed by Craig Brewer, who wrote and directed Hustle and Flow, sorry about that, starring Samuel L. Jackson, Christina Ricci, and Justin Timberlake. Basically, what this movie is about, it's about this young couple played by Justin Timberlake and Christina Ricci. I forget what Justin Timberlake's character's name is, but Christina Ricci's character is named Ray. They're pretty much this young couple, and the thing about them that we see first is that Justin Timberlake is going off to the army, but he suffers from this crippling anxiety attacks. So he goes off, and not even maybe an hour or so after he's gone, Ray's out fucking around on him, taking drugs and all this other shit. So then we see the story of Lazarus. Lazarus is played by Samuel L. Jackson. We see him sitting down in a diner talking to his ex-wife, because she's left him for his brother, and just, he's so bitter and angry. Granted, his anger is justified, but he's kind of past the point of normal bitter and angry, if you understand what I'm saying, to the point where he's vengeful. So we see that, and she explains as to why she left him, about how she's not ready to feel old, and Lazarus is pretty much set in his ways, and he's like at least 60 or so he's feeling old. So one night, Ray goes out, and she parties, she has sex with all these different guys, and she gets fucked up on drugs, and Justin Timberlake's best friend, I forget what his name is too, but oddly enough, Renee from True Blood played him. He decides to take her home, but just taking her home involves making a pit stop where he tries to have sex with her. She doesn't have any of it, so he beats her within an inch of her life and kicks her out of his truck and leaves her for dead. So the next morning, Ezekiel wakes up. Oh, why do people call him Ezekiel? Fucking Pulp Fiction. Lazarus wakes up after a night of hard drinking and playing the blues and finds her on the road, so he doesn't really know what to do, so he takes her in. Understands she's got a really bad cough, and also the fact that she's been beat within an inch of her life, but he goes and gets her some medicine, and during the course of her in and out period, you know, she tries to run away, she tries to have sex with him, and he realizes something is clearly wrong with her. So he changed her to the radiator. And from then on, it becomes this story of him trying to save Ray's soul, because he understands that something's clearly wrong with her for being an nympho, and he also is trying to come to peace with the terms that have happened in his life. So overall, I have to say this movie is an average movie. It just has some superior storytelling, I'll give it that, but just at times some of the acting kind of took away from it. Granted, Samuel L. Jackson is really great in this movie. Christina Ricci is really great in this movie, but I find there's too many side characters that just brings it down. I mean, Justin Timberlake really did a piss poor job in this. I mean, a lot of people raved on about his performance in this, but just really, it wasn't that great. At least I thought. Personally, I don't think he's a good actor at all. So another element that I really want to talk about is the blues, because the blues in this movie pretty much plays a character all of its own. It's a way for Lazarus to express all his hate and all his fear, and he just expels it when he plays the blues. And there's just one really great scene where Ray is feeling the twitch for sex, and she doesn't know what to do. So she's clinging onto Lazarus, and it's storming, it's lightning and thundering, and Lazarus plays the song Black Snake Moan. It's probably the best scene in the whole movie. Now, with the blues and stuff like that, this film is basically set in Louisiana, so you have that nice southern feel and grit to it. But just at times I felt like some of the characters really didn't know where they were. I mean, you can't take modern actors and just be like, yeah, you're in the South, do what you gotta do. You have to give them more direction. I think that's what Craig kind of failed to do with it. I mean, people like psychiatrists, like the guy who played Renee, he knew what he was doing, clearly. Granted, this was made before True Blood, but still. but just I found some of the characters really bland or really stereotypical. Granted, you need those characters in it, but it just felt tacked on. But I liked at the end how we see Justin Timberlake driving. All of a sudden, there's two semis, one beside him and one behind him, just like honking incessantly for him to speed up, and he has to pull over because he's like critical with anxiety. And you see Christina Ricci starting to get her twitch, but because they're married, he puts like this like gold chain around her, and she clings to that. So for me, what that represented was she's stronger now because she's been through it, and she can use that chain to help her out. But his weakness makes her weak. Because I don't know, I just picked up on this thing where like maybe it was Ray's need for something stronger, like a stronger man that made her more of a nympho, if you will, because she was sexually abused as a child. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling. I don't know. But for me, this movie is just your average movie. I mean, there is some good parts about it, but the good parts don't really weigh out the normalcy of it. There is some great humor, like when Christina Ricci jumps a kid coming over for some butter beans. I almost pissed myself for laughing so hard. But otherwise, though, it's just your standard movie. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, it'd definitely get like a 5 or a 6. It's just your average movie, really. Yeah, I guess I could talk about the use of light for a bit. Everything was really naturally lit. With a harsh summer sun down there, you could pretty much light anything in that. But at times I felt like there was too much shine, as if they could have used a filter on the camera just to bring it down. Yeah, the editing really didn't stand out at all. There's nothing really. It's just like an average movie when you really get right down to it. So that's the review for this week. Thanks to everyone who watches and subscribes. I will catch you guys in a week's time. Later.